projects were described to us, we were of the impression that we would be interacting with children, most likely in a classroom environment, during the engagement. However, when we saw that our group had been assigned to a community veterinary clinic, we were all a little bit confused about what sort of age group we would be engaging with. In order to make sure that we were planning to use the correct educational approach, our first research task was to determine who exactly we would be engaging with. So we arranged a meeting with our lecturer and community engagement coordinator, Dr. Eugene Mashimana, in order to find out a little bit more about the CVC program and who might attend. He provided us with a bit of background information about the work that the CVCs do and informed us that we will most likely be primarily interacting with adults. He also encouraged us to attend one of the Loate CVCs before actually implementing the educational components of our project so that we would better understand the needs of the community, the culture of the people, how people communicate most effectively with one another in the community, and how big of an issue the language barrier might be, all of which would influence the sort of educational approach we would need to implement. So we contacted our community mentor, State Veterinarian Dr. Amin Filyun, in order to arrange a date that we would be able to visit the Loate CVC. She said that herself and 2 other state vets were arranging a sterilization campaign together with the Loate CVC and that they could use some extra help. We were all very eager to have the opportunity to be part of the campaign and get to do some real hands-on work. So we organized the logistics with Dr. Filyun via WhatsApp. While at the sterilization campaign, we got a chance to speak to all 3 of the vets about what issues needed to be addressed in the Loate community on an educational level. We were also able to interact with some of the owners and quickly realized that most of them were literate and could understand English very well, which was crucial information taken into consideration when we decided how to present our message to the community.
During our research, it was revealed that 5 areas needed to be included in our educational components of the project. We decided to print the flyers in English because the community was quite fluent in English, and this eliminated any translational issues that may have arisen. During the first visit, it was established that mostly children bought the animals, and this led us to the decision of making the flyers colorful and attractive to a younger audience. Our intention was that the children would then go home and educate more members of the community. The vets at the clinic were so impressed with our flyers that they requested that we send them a digital copy, which they would then use in future outreaches.
The main points of implementation of our project was, firstly, our group came together and decided when we were going to do our project, what exactly we must do, and planned how long it would take for us to reach our destination, the amount of time we would spend there, and how many times we would go. Then we decided on going twice. The first time we went to CVC Loate, where we helped the vets with a spaying campaign. We identified some problems that we could see in the community and also asked the vets what they think the most problematic topics in general care and handling of animals in the community is, so that we could address that in our second visit, where the main focus was on education of their community. Then we met again after our first visit and decided on printing flyers with the topics we and the vets identified. We designed the flyers and printed them before our second visit. When we went the second time, we helped the vets with the vaccination campaign and handed out the flyers while educating the community on the topics addressed on the flyer.
We carried out our initial visit to the CVC on the 7th of June. We found this first visit to be extremely beneficial, as we were able to effectively assess what was expected of us in terms of assisting the vets and educating the community. During this time, we were able to assist the vets with numerous sterilizations. We were able to determine that because the campaign had been running for quite some time, members of the community engaged quite readily. This was encouraging, as it demonstrates to us that once educated about sterilization, people would be willing to go forth with the procedure. Through listening to the conversations between vets and owners and speaking to the owners ourselves, we were able to gauge that household dogs were treated lovingly and that owners had an earnest interest in asking questions about the necessity of sterilization, when to sterilize, and other concerns such as what types of food to feed or where to obtain good dog feed. Notably, 1 or 2 owners did bring puppies in to inquire about ear cropping and tail docking. As students, we were aware that this is illegal, and the experience gave us reason enough to include the topic in our educational approach upon our next visit.
During our trip to the Loate CVC, we found that the language barrier was quite a difficulty for us. The clients that came in understood most of what we were saying, but the children had hardly any experience with English. We were able to communicate with them through demonstrations, which seemed to work, but we were still unsure of how much they actually understood what was going on. A lot of people brought their dogs to be vaccinated using only a piece of rope as a lead, or else they sent their small children that were almost the same size as the dogs. This caused a lot of uneasiness between all of the different dogs, and we had to separate quite a few fights. A lot of the owners had forgotten their vaccination booklets at home, or were not able to remember if their dog had been vaccinated or not. This wasted a lot of valuable vaccines for the vets. The time that we were there for was also not long enough, as so many people had shown up to get their dogs vaccinated that there wasn't enough time or enough vaccines to do everybody. This leaves a lot of dogs without the essential vaccines, which could potentially still contract the diseases. The more often that the vaccination campaign is run, the more accustomed to it the people of the community will become, and they will be able to know what to bring and what to expect in the future.